In the heart of Igboland, where the sun dipped into the horizon and painted the sky with hues of crimson and gold, Prince Ozonna waddled through the village market. His stout frame and jovial demeanor made him a beloved figure among the villagers, who greeted him with warm smiles and respectful bows. Ozonna's parents, the king and queen, had long urged him to find a bride, but he had always been hesitant, fearing that marriage would mean an end to his carefree days. As he navigated the bustling stalls, Ozonna's eyes landed on a beautiful maiden named Akua. She sat poised and graceful, her slender fingers deftly weaving a vibrant orchid cloth on her loom. Her dark skin glistened in the fading light, and her full lips curled into a gentle smile as she walked. Ozonna was immediately smitten, his heart racing with excitement. For weeks, Ozonna had been trying to muster the courage to approach Akua, but she seemed oblivious to his affections. He would often find excuses to pass by her store, hoping to catch her eye, but Akua would simply nod politely and return to her weaving. Ozonna's friends and family encouraged him to make his move, but he feared rejection from the one woman who had captured his heart. One fateful evening, as the market began to close, Ozonna decided to take a bold step. He approached Akua's store, his palms sweating and his voice trembling. "Akua, my dear, I must speak with you," he said, trying to sound suave. Akua looked up from her loom, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. "Prince Ozonna, what brings you to my humble store?" Ozonna took a deep breath and launched into a passionate declaration of his love, his words tumbling forth like a river in flood. Akua listened patiently, her expression unreadable, until Ozonna finally paused for breath. "Akua, my love, will you be my bride?" he asked, his heart pounding with anticipation. Akua's response was not what Ozonna had hoped for. Akua's hands moved deftly, the shuttlecock flying back and forth as she wove an intricate pattern on her loom. She was so engrossed in her work that she didn't notice Ozonna's approach. When she finally looked up, she saw the prince standing before her, his eyes shining with excitement. "Akua, my dear, I must speak with you," Ozonna said, his voice trembling with emotion. Akua's heart skipped a beat as she set aside her weaving. "Prince Ozonna, what brings you to my humble store?" Ozonna took a deep breath and launched into a passionate declaration of his love, his words tumbling forth like a river in flood. Akua listened patiently, her expression unreadable, until Ozonna finally paused for breath. "Akua, my love, will you be my bride?" he asked, his heart pounding with anticipation. Akua's hands stilled, her eyes narrowing slightly as she considered the prince's proposal. She had expected this moment, had even prepared herself for it. Yet, as she looked into Ozonna's eager face, she felt a pang of disappointment. "Prince Ozonna," she began, her voice gentle but firm. "I appreciate your kind words and the honor you do me. However, I must decline your proposal." Ozonna's face fell, his eyes widening in shock. "What? Why?" he stuttered. Akua's expression softened, and she reached out to touch the prince's hand. "I value my independence, my freedom to weave and create as I please. Marriage would mean surrendering that autonomy, and I'm not ready to do so." Ozonna's face darkened, his jaw clenched in frustration. But I am a prince," he protested. "I can offer you a life of luxury and comfort." Akua's smile was sad but resolute. "I understand that, Prince Ozonna. Yet, for me, happiness lies in my craft, not in a life of indulgence." The prince's face twisted in a scowl, his eyes flashing with anger. "You will regret this, Akua," he spat, turning on his heel and storming off. Akua watched him go, a sigh escaping her lips. She had expected Ozonna to react poorly, but his outburst still stung. She returned to her weaving, her fingers moving with renewed determination. Little did she know that Ozonna's refusal to accept her rejection would set off a chain of events that would change the course of their lives forever. The king's throne room was abuzz with activity as courtiers, advisors, and guards scurried about, attending to their duties. King Ozona, a just and fair ruler, sat on his throne, his brow furrowed in concern. Before him stood Prince Ozonna, his face still stormy from his encounter with Akua. "Father, I demand justice," Ozonna exclaimed, his voice echoing off the throne room walls. "Akua has refused my proposal, and I will not be denied." King Ozona's expression turned stern. "Ozonna, my son, you know that a woman's consent is not to be taken lightly. Akua has the right to refuse your proposal." Ozona's face reddened. "But I am a prince. My honor has been slighted." The king's expression softened, and he placed a hand on Ozona's shoulder. "I understand your feelings, my son. However, we must respect Akua's decision. Perhaps there is another woman who would be a better match for you." Ozona's scowl deepened. "No, father. I want Akua, and I will have her." King Ozona's eyes narrowed, his voice taking on a warning tone. "Ozona, do not forget yourself. You are a prince, but you are not above the law. I will not have you forcing Akua into marriage against her will." Ozona's face twisted in a sneer. "You always side with the villagers, father. What about my rights as a prince?" The king's expression turned cold. "Your rights end where another's freedom begins, Ozona. I will not have you abusing your power. Now, go and calm yourself. We will speak of this later." Ozona's anger boiled over, and he stormed out of the throne room, leaving the king to wonder what darkness had taken hold of his son's heart. Meanwhile, in her humble stall, Akua worked tirelessly at her loom, unaware of the storm brewing around her. The king's decree, however, would soon change everything. The village elder, Obie, sat in his cozy hut, surrounded by the trappings of a life well lived. His wrinkled hands cradled a worn wooden staff, and his wise eyes twinkled with a deep understanding of the world. Before him stood Akua, her expression troubled. "Obie, I am at a loss," Akua began, her voice laced with concern. "Prince Ozonna has proposed marriage, but I have refused him. Now, he seeks to force me into marriage against my will." Obie's expression turned grave, his eyes clouding with worry. "Oh, child, you have indeed stirred up a hornet's nest. Ozonna is not a man to be trifled with." Akua's hands clenched into fists. "I will not be intimidated, Obie. I have the right to choose my own path." Obie nodded, his staff tapping the ground in emphasis. "You do indeed, child. But Ozonna is a prince, and his pride is wounded. He will not take this lying down." Akua's face set in determination. "I will not back down, Obie. I will fight for my freedom." Obie's eyes gleamed with approval. "I knew you had the heart of a warrior, child. But remember, wisdom is not just about courage, it is also about strategy. You must tread carefully, for Ozonna is not the only one with power in this village." Akua's eyes narrowed, her mind racing with possibilities. "What do you mean, Obie?" Obie leaned forward, his voice taking on a conspiratorial tone. "I mean that there are those in this village who would support you, child. You are not alone in this fight." Akua's heart swelled with gratitude. "Thank you, Obie. Your words give me strength." Obie's staff tapped the ground once more. "Remember, child, the power of the people is greater than the power of any one man. You have the right to choose your own path. Do not let anyone take that away from you." With renewed determination, Akua left Obie's hut, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Akua's fingers flew across her loom, the shuttlecock dancing in and out of the warp threads with a rhythmic intensity. She was lost in the flow of her craft, the world around her melting away as she poured her heart and soul into the fabric. As she walked, a subtle energy began to build around her, the air vibrating with an otherworldly power. The threads on her loom seemed to shimmer and glow, as if infused with a magic that only revealed itself in the depth of her creativity. Suddenly, The shuttlecock froze in midair, suspended by an unseen force. Akua's hand stilled, her eyes widening as she felt the presence of something greater than herself. In that moment, the fabric on her loom began to glow with a soft, ethereal light. The threads seemed to weave themselves into a pattern that shimmered and pulsed with an ancient wisdom. Akua's breath caught in her throat as she realized that she was not alone in her craft. The gods themselves were guiding her hands, imbuing her fabric with a power that transcended the mundane. The shuttlecock began to move once more, the threads flowing across the loom with a renewed sense of purpose. Akua's fingers danced across the fabric, her heart filled with a sense of wonder and awe. As she walked, the fabric grew, its power and beauty unfolding like a lotus blooming in the sun. Akua knew that she was creating something special, something that would change the course of her life forever. The fabric finally complete, Akua stepped back to admire her handiwork. The cloth shimmered and glowed, its beauty and power radiating an otherworldly energy. In that moment, Akua knew that her fate was sealed. She had become a vessel for the gods, a weaver of destiny itself. Prince Ozona's face was a mask of determination as he approached Akua's stall. He had not given up on his pursuit of the beautiful weaver, despite her repeated rejections. "Akua, my dear, I have come to apologize for my behavior earlier," Ozona said, his voice dripping with sincerity. "I realize now that I was wrong to pressure you into marriage. But I cannot help the way I feel. I am drawn to you like a moth to flame." Akua's eyes narrowed, her expression skeptical. "What do you want from me, Prince Ozona?" Ozona's smile was charming, but Akua saw the calculation behind it. "I want to prove myself to you, Akua. I want to show you that I am worthy of your love." Akua raised an eyebrow. "And how do you plan to do that?" Ozona's eyes gleamed with excitement. "I will complete any task you set before me, no matter how difficult. I will prove my devotion to you, Akua." Akua's laughter was like music, but Ozona's face fell. "You do not believe me?" he asked, his voice tinged with disappointment. Akua's expression turned serious. "I believe you are a man used to getting what you want, Prince Ozona. But I am not a prize to be won. I am a person with my own thoughts and feelings." Ozona's face darkened, his eyes flashing with anger. "You are a stubborn woman, Akua. But I will not be deterred. I will win your heart, no matter what it takes." Akua's eyes met Ozona's, her gaze steady and unyielding. "I doubt that, Prince Ozona. But I am willing to give you a task, nonetheless." Ozona's face lit up with excitement. "Anything, Akua. I will do anything." Akua's smile was enigmatic. "I want you to retrieve a golden thread from the depths of the forest. It is said that only those with the purest of hearts and the strongest of wills can retrieve it." Ozona's eyes widened, his face set in determination. "I will do it, Akua. I will retrieve that thread and prove my worth to you." Prince Ozona ventured into the forest, determined to retrieve the golden thread. He had heard stories of the forest's magical properties, how it could reveal one's true character and test their resolve. As he journeyed deeper, the forest grew denser, the trees twisting and turning in impossible ways. Ozona encountered strange creatures, some friendly, others menacing. He began to realize that the forest was indeed a place of trials. Welcome to The Reluctant Bride, a tale of love, tradition, and triumph. In this first part of our story, we followed Prince Ozona as he navigates the challenges of finding a bride, and Akua, the talented weaver who has captured his heart. As we conclude part 1, Akua has refused Ozona's proposal, and is determined to win her hand. But Akua's not one to be easily swayed, and Ozona's going to have to prove himself worthy. The stage is set for a thrilling adventure, and we can't wait to see what happens next. Stay tuned for part 2, coming soon, where Ozona will face even more challenges as he tries to win Akua's heart. Will he succeed? Will Akua's heart remain stubbornly closed? You'll have to wait until part 2 to find out. But before you go, don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. Comment below with your thoughts about the story so far. Share this video with others who might enjoy it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel for more exciting content like this. Your support means the world to us, and we are grateful for your engagement. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.